they don't have a clue as it relates to the struggle that you're having. A colleague of mine that was having an event that she wanted to attend. Her need to attend was not a genuine need to attend, but she was competitive and she was in competition. And at the time, we had gone through a really, really hard period in ministry. And I've had to deal with loss. She came and she saw us. Now, we were in a living room, literally a living room. Everything was being done there in that space. And when she came and she saw what we were doing, and she saw that, but what she saw was not what I saw. And she went away and she had a lot of bad mind, if I could put it lightly. She was jealous, she was covetous of what she saw. You are doing what you are persuaded that you have been called to do. And conversation is always important in regards to how you process things and how you process what you're going through. And if you're not having the conversation with yourself, if you're not having the conversation at all, then how are you resolving anything? And so the conversation may be about divorce, it may be about marriage, it may be about family, it might be about something that is very important to you. And that something might be your education. It might be even your self image. It can be as simple as your self image. It might be the struggles that you face as a person. Because for me personally, sometimes when you look at your narrative, you wonder if it means anything or if it has any value. So I would talk about my speech a lot because it is one of those things that I really struggled with and still struggles with. And perhaps I need some more formal therapy for this, but this is this is just how my brain is wired. How my brain is wired affects how I speak. And they put us sometimes in a category to say that we are dyslexic or other disorders that we may have. But on the contrary, on the other side, we may be very, very creative. We, especially, with creating things, being maybe you like to make things, etc. Just being creative in general. But it is important that you are really having the conversation that is moving your life forward. It is important that you're having the conversations to yourself, with yourself, about the struggle that is sometimes, people look on and they don't understand. They don't have a clue as it relates to the struggle that you're having. I remember the other day, somebody made a very negative comment. And personally, for me, I feel like if everybody likes what you are doing, you are not doing very well. You're not reaching very far. This is just my opinion. If everything I put out there, everybody likes it, then it means that my reach is very small. It may be that is just within my little circle in regards to my family and the ministry and persons who may take a liking to me. But one of the things about moving forward and having the conversation is that you cannot allow for people, anybody at all, to stop you from reaching to that place and reaching to that goal. We don't have it all together. That's one of my favorite scriptures. It's not as though I've already attained or grab hold of it, Paul says, but there is this one thing I do. And you have to recognize that one thing that you have to do for yourself. And it is to keep on pressing. And that's one of my favorite things to tell people, that you have to keep on reaching, you have to keep on pressing towards that goal and towards that mark of a higher calling. In reflection, many, many years ago, I I was really struggling with where I was in ministry, struggling with what I have achieved. And I remember having a conversation with this other person, a colleague of mine, which she I was having an event that she wanted to attend, and I realized that her need to attend was not a genuine need to attend, but she was competitive and she was in a competition. And understand this, I am a little wiser, I'm a little older. I understand that there is good competition and there is bad competition. As human beings, all of us have a little bit of that, wherein we thrive because somebody else is doing something, and that is quite normal. But when you become competitive to the point where you want to you want to outdo other people, or nobody else can get ahead, or you have to be at the top, then this is where we begin to talk about how unhealthy that is. But I was reflecting on the story the other day, and I was sharing it with my husband. At the time, we had gone through a really, really hard period in ministry. And I've gone through hard periods. I've had many, many hard periods in life. I think to the point where, you know, I've had to deal with shame. I have had to deal with abandonment. I've had to deal with loss. I've had to deal with suffering. There were just so many things that I've had to deal with. But I remember in this particular conversation that we had, that this person, and I'm just gonna call the character a person for now. And so, you know, she came and she saw us. Now, backstory, we were in a living room, literally a living room space, where, we were worshiping, we were having our Bible school, we were having worship. Everything was being done there in that space. And when she came and she saw what we were doing, I felt in that time that I was really struggling, because there is a vision, there is a part and a place in ministry that you see yourself. There is a part and a place where you see yourself succeeding in regards to according to the vision that you carry. And it might not be ministry, it might be corporate, it might be in your business, it might be in the goals you set for yourself, that you really see yourself ahead, and you know reaching to that place. Like I mentioned earlier on, you keep on pressing. So she came and she saw that, but what she saw was not what I saw. I saw the struggle, I saw the pressure, I saw the effort that I had put into building this, and that it was not resembling anything that was in my heart or in my spirit. That desire that God placed within me to fulfill. And she went away and she had a lot of bad mind, if I could put it lightly. She was jealous, she was covetous of what she saw. And so it is important that we're having these conversations with ourselves, and we're having these conversations that can help to shift us. So there are going to be persons who decide that they do not like you only because you are doing what you believe in your heart that you need to be doing. You are doing what you are persuaded that you have been called to do, and persons are not going to be happy. But Paul says, and I'm going to, really give you the reference for this scripture, because it's very, very important that we have reference. I don't record numbers very well, and so I can tell you Philippians or and so on and so forth. It kind of coming back to me a little bit. But Paul says, I press towards the mark of a higher calling. And so the conversation that you're having with yourself is very, very crucial, very, very important in getting to where you really see yourself in the future. And so I really want to encourage everybody to have the conversation with yourself, because if you do not have the conversation with yourself, you cannot flesh out what is really in your heart to accomplish. You cannot really flesh it out until you begin to speak about it.